Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on my video. If you've been here before, maybe you know that we are in the middle of a series where I rank my 25 favorite movies from every genre, leading up to my 25 favorite movies of all time, and this is for the year 2025, which is my 25th birth year. If you haven't been here before, thank you so much for clicking in and joining in on this video, and this is the second video in the series. We did a horror movie one before. I will link that video in the description if you want to watch that first or after this, but today we are doing my top 25 comedy movies, and when it came to horror and drama and sci-fi and those certain genres, I feel like I'm picking my 25 just like best films that I've seen. But when it comes to comedy, I think comedy is very subjective, and it's more like what did you grow up with and what has, an impact on you, because I feel like everyone's favorite comedies is in those years when they're in like middle school and high school and they're watching with their friends, and that's what they're laughing at the time. So you're going to see a lot of stuff here from the early to mid 2000s and 2010s, because that's when I was growing up and that's when I was watching comedies with my family, my cousins, and my friends. So getting that out of the way, my list may be different than yours depending on when you were born, and if you're born around the same time as me, your list might be pretty much the same. So we're going to go ahead and get into this. Like I said, it's my top 25 comedies. I have them written down right here, and I also have 3 honorable mentions that I felt like didn't quite make the cut, but I need to include them on this list. So get ready to watch this video, sit back, grab a drink, grab a snack. It may be a long one. I'm not sure exactly how long it is. We'll see when this whole thing's filmed and edited, but I got my drink here, got my list, and we are ready to go. So I will start off with my honorable mentions. And like I said, I have 3 of these. So first off, I have Wayne's World. This is a film that means a lot to me because if you've seen my channel, love music and I love movies. And like I've said before, if you can put both those together and make a cool, fun film, that is right up my alley. And Wayne's World might not be my generation of comedy, but it still means a lot to me. That whole sequence when they're in their car listening to Bohemian Rhapsody to start the movie is amazing. I love the whole setup where they have this crappy TV show that people love to watch, and it's all about music and driving around, hanging out with friends in that 80s time period, which I absolutely love. So that's why Wayne's World gets an honorable mention for me. My second honorable mention is the Scooby-Doo movies, and I don't mean all the Scooby-Doo movies, even though I too enjoy all of them from my childhood. A lot of them were coming out when I was in my elementary school years, so they meant a lot to me. But I exactly mean the first 2 live-action films, Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. These movies were so important to me when I was younger. I watched them all the time in elementary school, and I actually just rewatched them just for fun recently, and they still held up. They're still funny, they're still good films, and I recommend anyone watching these ones. In my last honorable mention, I have the Ghostbusters movies, and for me, this is Ghostbusters 1 and 2 from the 80s, Ghostbusters Afterlife from 2021, and sadly, I'm not going to include that 4th film because it was just not fun, and I'm also not going to include that 2016 remake. I did not enjoy that one, but those first 3 from the original series, absolutely love them. Those are some of my favorite comedies of all time. But with that getting out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our top 25. And I'm starting off here with an animated film from when I was younger, and it's probably my favorite animated film when I was young, when I was in that age when these Pixar and Disney movies are coming out for your age group, and that movie is Cars. I had all the Cars toys, I had a Cars video game, I had the movie on DVD when I was younger, I always put it in. This was one of my favorite Pixar movies. I think now that I'm older and I have a new taste, it's no longer my favorite, but just because of nostalgia, it has to make my top 25. At number 24, we have Dodgeball. I think my favorite comedic actor might be Vince Vaughn. He has a direct line to my funny bone. Everything that dude says and does is funny to me. I have 10 of his movies on DVD. I know that because last night we got them all together. Me and my girlfriend were trying to find a Vince Vaughn movie to watch. So I love this dude, and I think Dodgeball might be one of his best performances. And I've been hearing rumors that Dodgeball 2 is coming, so I hope it is, and I hope it's good. At 23, we have one that I didn't watch till later in my life, but it really resonated with me and really made me feel like, a time that I grew up, like the early 2000s and the 90s, and that is Clerks. This movie really has no story and no plot to it. It's all about a dude who is at work who shouldn't even be there today, but every line and every little, side story that happens is so funny in this movie, and I've only seen it twice now and it's already my top 25. I hope to watch it a lot more in the future. At 22, I had to just clump some movies together here because I couldn't pick just one, but I have the Scary Movie series. And for me, I'm really talking about Scary Movie 1, 2, and 3. 4 is okay, but that's kind of where they fall off, and 5 I'm just not a fan of. But those first 3 movies are so funny to me. Just some memorable scenes, like they remade in a funny way Scream, which is my favorite horror franchise of all time, in the first one. And then there's so many funny scenes in the second one, like with the butler and the Thanksgiving dinner. I crack up every time. The third one's awesome also. I do love these films, and I know Scary Movie 6 is coming out, and I heard the Wayans brothers are coming back, so hopefully this one is as good as the original 3. At 21, we have My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And this is only the original. I do not care for the second and the third, but that original movie is a perfect comedy in my eyes. And growing up as an Italian, I've always said to everyone, if you take that title and replace it with My Big Fat Italian Wedding, it is the same thing for us, and that's why I think it resonated so much with me, because I saw my own family while watching this film. At 20, we have Knocked Up, and this Judd Apatow era of comedy is what I'm talking about when I say the comedy that I grew up with and that means the most to me. This came out right at the perfect time for me, along with Forgetting Sarah Marshall and 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad. All these movies are in that Judd Apatow era, and they're truly some great comedy movies, and we just don't get movies like this anymore. I don't want to sound like a broken record, and maybe it's because, I'm past that point in my life and I'm older now, and these comedies just aren't resonating with me like they used to, but I just feel like we don't get comedies like this anymore, man. These movies are awesome. At 19, speaking of these movies, we have 40-Year-Old Virgin. Steve Carell is awesome in this film. I feel like this and The Office are his best performances. He is so funny in this movie, man. And like I said, those Judd Apatow films, they will never get old for me. At 18, we have actually a newer film, and I wasn't sure where to throw this on the list, but the more I thought about it, and I checked Letterboxd, I checked IMDb, I kind of, place these movies all in their own categories, I realized this one does belong in the comedy section, because while it's like a mystery movie, it is more funny than it is a thriller, and that is Knives Out. This movie came out in 2019, and it is still one of my favorite movies from the past 10 years. It is so funny and cunning, and the fact that you find out who is the killer halfway through the movie and it still builds after that is awesome. At number 17, we have Bridesmaids. For me, I usually relate more to the male-centered comedy movies because I am a guy. I relate more to Step Brothers. I relate more to Superbad. I relate more to Hangover. But this movie, it just hits every time, man. It is so funny. And Melissa McCarthy in this movie is just comedic genius, man. Her scenes on the plane and at the wedding shop, and then when she steals the dogs from the party favors. I mean, these are comedic gold scenes that I will never forget about. Coming in next at number 16, we have 21 Jump Street. I know when this movie came out, a lot of people were hesitant because they were taking this 90s action cop buddy show, which I've never seen, and turning it into a comedy. A lot of people were against that, but when this movie came out, it took the world by storm. Everyone talked about it. Everyone went to go see it. Jonah Hill is one of the best comedic actors of our generation, and man, this movie is so funny. Alright, so here we are getting the top 15. I'm gonna take a drink, relax, get my thoughts clear. Okay, and this is another one where I wasn't sure exactly what list to put it onto because it could have fallen into the drama category as well, being a Coen brother film. But at the end of the day, it's mostly funny to me. And that movie is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I feel like when people talk about the Coen brothers, their favorite movies are No Country or Big Lebowski. No one ever says, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is their favorite Coen brothers movie, but for me, I think it is, man. This movie is so funny, and like I said, I love the music aspect to it, how they're runaway prison escapees who accidentally make a hit single, and that's how they get tracked down. That's so awesome to me. Like I said, music, movies, combine them, make a great film. I'm all there for it. At 14, we have a movie by an actor that I didn't realize till recently gets a lot of hate in the comedy world, and I don't understand that because for me, he's one of the best, and we have an Adam Sandler movie with Grown Ups. I love Adam Sandler, I love Grown Ups, I love Happy Gilmore, I love Just Go With It. All of his films to me are so funny. I know there's a few like shitters out there, like you got Jack and Jill and stuff like that, which I can't back him up for those movies, but overall, when I see Adam Sandler hate, man, I have to shoot it down because he is one of the funniest guys out there. I'm sorry. At 13, we have a movie that stars one of Sandler's best friends, and that is Paul Blart Mall Cop. Does this movie deserve to be on a top 25 comedies? Probably not. I know it's stupid, but it is stupid funny for me. Me and my friends quote this movie every day, I feel like. It is something we grew up watching all the time. The scenes with Paul Blart and like Bahood and these other characters in the movie, man, they're so funny, they're so quotable. All these scenes in this movie with Paul Blart and the side characters, man, they're so funny, they're so quotable. I could watch this movie any given night and have a blast with it. I know it's not the best movie ever, but it's one of those dumb comedies that you can't help but love. At 12, we have Pitch Perfect. I feel like this is a movie that a lot of you wouldn't expect to be on a 25-year-old guy's list, but for me, music, movies, it's perfect, man. I love this movie. I love the different groups of like a cappella groups, and I love the different characters. You have Anna Kendrick, who I think this is where she like broke out with this in the Cup song. She's fantastic in this movie. You have some great side characters like Fat Amy, and this movie's so funny, man. I love how like her boyfriend is like a movie nerd, and he tries to show her Breakfast Club, who she thinks won't be a good movie, but then she ends up crying at it. There's all these different scenes that just really hit for me, like the music, the whole movie aspect of it. And I'm not afraid to say, those last two songs by the guy group and the girl group at the end of the movie, I have them saved on my Spotify, and I know all of them. Number 11, we have another animated movie, and now that I'm older and I can see these movies from a different viewpoint, this is my current favorite Pixar movie, and we have Toy Story 3. I love the whole Toy Story franchise, but I think this movie just perfectly wraps up that whole story. And you know, as an adult, as someone who's gone to college and graduated and now they're back home, this story, you know, resonates more with me than the original ones where Andy's a kid, because you go through these experiences of leaving home for college, you know, taking all your childhood stuff and putting them in storage and moving on from that part of your life and on to your next one. And the ending, honestly, can make you tear up and you're crying over a bunch of toys. This franchise is handled so well, and this, to me, is the ultimate film in that franchise. Cracking into my top 10, the guy I've been talking about, Adam Sandler, we have Just Go With It. This may be my favorite Adam Sandler movie. I love all the scenes from it. When I talked about me and my friends quoting movies, we have quite a few of them on here in the top 10. This is the first one, the top 10. All the scenes when they're in Mexico, we quote all the time. Of the one guy who does the CPR, he's like Adam Sandler's weird, quirky friend who they bring along. I love this film so much, and I could watch this one every day. At 9, we have a movie that I don't think a lot of you know about. It's a 90s ex-con turned cop comedy movie called Blue Streak. This movie's awesome. If you don't know what it is Martin Lawrence, and he is a diamond thief who steals this diamond, but when the cops are chasing him, he decides to hide it in an abandoned building and come back for it when he is done serving his sentence. And when he's done serving his sentence, he goes back to the building just to find that it is now a police station. So he has to go undercover and try to become a cop and convince these people he's a cop to try and steal back his diamond. And the stuff that happens in the movie is so funny. You get a little David Chappelle moment in there, and he is probably the funniest part of the whole movie, and I really do love this one. At number 8, maybe one of my favorites from the Judd Apatow era, we have Forgetting Sarah Marshall. This movie is awesome. Another one where they go to Hawaii and the movie is so funny. I think that the characters we have here are awesome. We have the main character who's actually kind of a side character in most of these Judd Apatow films. His name is just lost from my memory right now, I don't know why, but he becomes the main character finally in this film, and he does an awesome job at it. And 8-year-old me had his first celebrity crush in this movie when he saw Mila Kunis, so I gotta have love for the movie for that. At number 7, we have Wedding Crashers, back to the man Vince Vaughn. And I said that Dodgeball might be his best performance. I'm taking that back now because Wedding Crashers is. He just talks so fast in this movie, but everything he says is so funny. When he's talking to the Todd guy, or when he ends up with Owen Wilson's girlfriend's sister, all this stuff that he does in this movie, man, is so funny. You get a little Will Ferrell moment as Chaz, and he is awesome in this film. Another very quotable one, another one that I could watch all the time. At number 6, we have The Hangover. And if you want to talk about like the penultimate comedy from my generation, from when I'm growing up, it is The Hangover. I'm pretty sure this movie made like the most money a comedy film was ever made in the 2000s. It was a huge hit. Everyone got to see it. It even spawned 2 sequels, which I kind of love because I love The Hangover, but I know they're not great. This movie was awesome, and this one, the second one, and the third one, my uncle took me to see all 3 of them in the theaters when I was like, I don't know, 7, 9, and 11 years old. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I love it. I fell in love with these movies, and I think that Alan from The Hangover may be the funniest movie character of all time. At 5, we have one from the 80s, and like I said, these are a lot of the films that I grew up with and the comedies that meant the most to me, but if I had to pick like a favorite decade that I wasn't around for, it's probably the 80s. The music, the movies, everything about it I love. I have like 80s themed stuff in my basement. I'm a real big fan of it, and the movie that I love probably the most from that decade is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. If you haven't seen this one, if you're younger like me, I recommend you go check it out. It's an awesome film that, you know, if you're my age, I think you can still find funny and still find entertaining. And if you're older than me and you know this movie and you have seen it many times, I know you gotta love it too. At number 4, this one kind of hurt me to leave out of my top 3 because this might be the most quoted movie by me and my friends. There was one time that we were just hanging out, and I think we just quoted the movie from start to finish. That's how much we love it. The movie wasn't even on, we were just talking. And this movie is Step Brothers. This is Will Ferrell's funniest movie. Everything about it is so hilarious, man. You got like the mean brother of Will Ferrell, who's like the younger brother, and he's like singing in the car, the I'm Derek scene. They start Prestige Worldwide and they crash the dad's boat. Everything about this movie is so memorable. I can quote every single line, and this is one of the most important movies of my like middle school, high school, coming of age years. Alright, cracking into my top 3, we have at 3, Superbad. This is the best comedy from my generation growing up, in my opinion. You have Jonah Hill, you have Michael Cera, and I can't think of the actor's name right now, but the dude who plays McLovin is awesome in this movie, and everything about this film just screams when I grew up, middle school and high school. This is the stuff that me and my friends saw, the stuff that we went through. I know like my dad always says, oh, growing up, the movies that meant a lot to me because they felt like the time period I was in was like Weird Science and Animal House. This is a movie that describes me and my friends' high school experience. It's so funny, it's so relatable, and I love it to death. At number 2, we have a movie that I wouldn't even say is here for its comedic reasons, like a Superbad or a Step Brothers. It's more here for like the way that it blends movies and music and nostalgia and coming of age stories. There's really no like center plot to this movie, but all the little subplots and all the little side stories are so memorable, and I love them so much. And this is Dazed and Confused. This may be the movie that made me fall in love with movies and music. When I was younger, me and my family would take a trip to this lake, Rifle Lake, every year, where my dad's best friend has a cottage. And when I was there, my dad's best friend has an older son, and he told me, you need to check out Dazed and Confused. So I went home a week later, popped this movie in, watched it for the first time, and I feel like it almost shaped who I am today. It made me fall in love with that 70s and 80s music. It made me fall in love with movies. And honestly, Dazed and Confused is a big part of my personality at this point. So I have a lot to give for this movie. My number 1 comedy of all time, and this will never change for me because I love this movie more than anything in the world. And maybe this one is the number 1 aspect of my personality because my girlfriend says that when I'm, in certain moods, I tend to act just like the main character of this film. And that is School of Rock. She's laughing at me right now in the background. Jack Black in this movie is freaking fantastic, man. I love this film so much. I love Jack Black, and I know I sound like a broken record, but you saw my top two, mixing music and movies. That's what hits for me. School of Rock is awesome, man. It's not only a super funny movie, but it's also a great story. And like the way it starts with like he's just like this bum in this rock band that gets kicked out, and then he sneaks his way into his buddy's sub-teaching job, and it like makes this huge impact on him and the kids and the final concert. Man, everything about this movie is awesome. I love the music. I love the characters, and honestly, the funniest part is my favorite songs from this movie aren't even like the AC/DC and Led Zeppelin songs in the movie. It's the songs that the School of Rock like create and sing for themselves or are made for the movie. This film is awesome. It'll forever be in my Letterboxd top 4. It's never coming out of there. I love it so much, and that is why it's my #1 comedy of all time. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Let me know in the comments below what's your top 5, 10, 25 favorite comedies of all time. I would like to get back to you and talk to you about them. And like I said, that's your list. This is my list. We may have different opinions because comedy is the most subjective genre out there. It means different things to different people, different things that are funny to different people. And I want to know what relates to you guys and what makes you guys laugh. So drop down in the comments below, leave a like on this video, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a great day.